The Inside Kradle from Sportskeeda Wrestling. That is Rick Ucchino. I am Kev Kellam. We go deep. We roll it up. We pin it to the mat. We're grand and we're getting in there. We're talking about the biggest wrestling stories of the week. We are just a week or so away from what could be yet another one of those weekends where we say, wow, this is a really fun time to follow wrestling. As AEW Rampage hits Friday nights after SmackDown, could we see CM Punk back? We got SummerSlam in a packed stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh, and wow, we're blessed to hear this story from Keith Lee, who shared why he was outside of the ring for many, many months in a really, really medical situation. We're getting into all of it. It's this week's Sportskeeda Wrestling Inside Kradle.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Yes, watch out indeed.
It's hard. It's really, really hard to believe SummerSlam is next weekend.
Crazy, right?
I know. I'm going to be on a plane Wednesday morning, 7 a.m., heading out to Viva Las Vegas, and it still doesn't feel real to me. And I still just realized I have a lot I have to do. Like I have to go buy clothes for the desert. I have to pack. I have to get all my itinerary together. It's gonna be a fun trip. 5 days in Vegas. I'm gonna probably lose more money than I make, to be completely honest, while I'm out there, because I have
to call me, be like, Kev,
I cashed in my plane ticket. Don't tell Roni, but please send help.
Listen, I can't let my wife know about this, man.
I'm out in the middle of the desert. Some gentleman in a suit here want $30,000. Can you help me out?
Turns into The Hangover. We have that. We also have Rampage next week. I'll be at that in Chicago. And I know it debuts this week, but people are still in the Wrestleverse talking about August 20th, the night before SummerSlam in Chicago.
Big that's supposed to happen that night on August 20th.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. It's a clever little maneuvering by people involved with that. Yeah, little Punky Brewsters trying to spin the curve on that. And let's see if people eat the pitch. We'll get into all those different things. But if you're with us for the first time, yes, the show is taped, but I still want you to get involved in those comments below. All right. And there's going to be a lot of things we say that you may not like or you may like. All right. I would love to know how many people agree with Rick and agree with my takes, because Rick and I tend to not agree on a lot of different wrestling things.
Hey, we agree a lot more than me and SP3 do on Smack Talk. That's for damn sure. Smack Talk, by the way, is our post show every Friday. Again, if you're new to the program, every Friday after SmackDown, 10 o'clock, myself, SP3, and Dutch Mantel, the wrestling legend himself, break down the latest episode of the Blue Brand. For the next 2 weeks, though, programming note, we are not going on at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going on at 11:05 Eastern Standard Time, because we are going to definitely make sure to check out those first 2 episodes of Rampage and recap those. Will we make the change permanent? Well, that all depends on Dutch Mantel. But at least for the first 2, we're going to check out Rampage and not go head to head, and we'll recap both shows in their entirety right after. So make sure to check us out here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook channels at 11:05 Eastern Standard Time Friday night.
All right, so let's get into this lead story. Keith Lee put it out. We covered it extensively at sportskeeda.com. A lot of news up there this week. Keith Lee kind of elaborating on why he was outside of the ring so abruptly, was kind of like taken out of the mix. He did return for a match in February and kind of explained why there was then another long period where he was outside of the ring. First, it was COVID-19. And then there was an abnormality they found in his heart, which is very, very terrifying to find about. I don't care who you are. I had a brother who was born with a heart defect. It's a very, very scary situation. All right. So you walk around with that burden quite often. And so he had to spend months and months and months trying to get the inflammation down. And it was kind of like an after effect of COVID, or at least COVID may have brought that up. And now he's in the clear, and now he's back in the ring. And it took a lot of different things for him. And then sacrifices were made by not just him, but his partner, Mia Yim. Yeah. She had, because of that, she was out of the Women's Royal Rumble in January. So a lot of different things here. Keith Lee kind of laid this all in a video. Kind of, I appreciate his transparency in this.
Yeah, he made 2 attempts at this. He said the first one, it went about 13 minutes. So God knows what he trimmed out. of that after he made the second attempt, which was a little over 6 minutes. We actually pulled a little bit of it here. We're gonna have the video for you. You can hear straight from his mouth, and I am really happy that he did this. That first off, fantastic that he is okay, that he is back, that he is wrestling again. Whether he's losing in the ring or not, that is knowing now why he was gone. The results of matches do not matter. The fact that he's back, that's the important thing. He's back, he's healthy, he's doing what he loves again. And that is great. A lot of reckless speculation came out about why he was absent. And a lot of people, the people in the know, were very, very quiet about why he was gone, which makes it's pretty damn serious why he was gone. And we pulled a little bit of what Keith Lee had to say, and straight from the Limitless One's mouth, why it was that he was gone.
So let's talk about time since January. Yeah, all right, let's get this knocked out. So as some of you know, toward the end of January, I missed about 3 weeks on TV. At that time, I had contracted COVID. And actually, before I continue, let me go ahead and point out something, because I did see some disturbing and just rude remarks toward Mia Yim. Some stating that it was her fault that I was gone, and some stating that she gave me COVID and what have you. Let me go ahead and clear that up right now. That needs to be clear. Were it not for her, I don't know how things would have gone, to be quite honest. I contracted COVID. She did not. Actually, for like 3 weeks. And the only reason that she did contract it was because she refused to not be there and take care of me. And unfortunately, that ended up costing her an opportunity in the Royal Rumble. But that was a chance she was willing to take. So, at the end of the day, I'm grateful to her. And it's unfortunate that some of you are ungrateful, because the reality is there's no telling how things would have gone without her assistance. So, after that, I came back for one match against Mr. Riddle, and I believe that was February 8th. And then the next day I got a call saying that there was something off in my blood. Some people may have experienced this thing where there's like an inflammation in the heart or lungs. For me, it was the heart. And, that led to very scary times. I was basically forbidden from training or any activity outside of a light walk. So there was a fear that doing more than that there was a chance that I could just up and pass away. So for 3 or 4 months, this was kind of the case, and I had several MRIs on my heart. By the way, I don't fit in those machines. It was terrible, and my shoulders really struggled with that, but we had to do what we had to do, right? So this became a fight against death, so to speak, and it took up until the company sent me to Pittsburgh to get looked at, and it was to the point where I was about to have to undergo genetic testing and all sorts of things, because it was thought that there was a potential I could have a heart disease of sorts. Very fortunately, even though it took a long time, we waited that amount of time, for that allowed the inflammation in my heart to eventually go down to normal.
So obviously, a lot of heavy stuff going on with Keith Lee. That was he put that out on YouTube. If you missed it, there's a full 6-minute video, 6-minute plus up there that he tweeted out today, explaining everything that went down. I mean, again, I don't know what else to really say about it, except thank God he's all right. When you start talking about I could have died if I did anything more than a light walk. I mean, it doesn't get any more serious than that. Usually we like to have fun and joke and, this, that, and whatever on this show. But yeah, God, man, for the length that he was gone, you knew something was going on. And it turned out to be something very, very serious. Again, I know there was a lot of speculation about why he was gone. Were they souring on him? Was it creative differences? I saw a report about, copyright disputes or this, that, and the other thing. We don't know unless we know. And
now you know.
And now we know. And
and knowing is half the battle.
Shut up. And for those people who are attacking Mia Yim, go to hell. Get a life and go to hell. Like, what the hell?
I also think, like, it's a contract dispute, or it's something that WWE did and they're burying him, right? We're so conditioned to that. But the fact of the matter is, this guy had a real serious health problem. I don't know if WWE caught it, but they were certainly like, hey, we're going to send you to Pittsburgh. We're going to send you our guys. We're going to send you people to take care of you here. And I know the idea is that WWE just buries people and they just bring you in and they treat them like circus animals. But I would say, and this is from talking to many, many people, and I think you could corroborate with me. I think the level of medical care in that company is incredibly stronger than it was maybe generations ago.
Oh,
and also the sports medicine itself, how athletes are treated, how they're, in general are treated. You hear Daniel Bryan say this when he came back. I mean, he went through a long, long period of going to many different specialists for a long period of time until WWE said, okay, all right, we'll let you go here. We'll let you get back in there and do this thing.
Same thing with Edge. Same thing with Christian. Christian, for the longest time, was on the no-touch list as far as WWE was concerned. Hell, when I talked to Samoa Joe, what seems like forever and a day ago, back in January, when he was still not cleared, direct quote was, "This company is taking my health at a premium, and I appreciate that. They want to make sure everything is good and ready to go before I get back in the ring." And as he talked with Alex McCarthy today, it turns out he was actually cleared to wrestle before his release. So I suggest you check out that interview that Alex McCarthy with TalkSport did with Samoa Joe earlier today. So which kind of makes his release even more head scratching. The fact that he was cleared, ready to go, ready to get back in the ring. They're like, we don't need you. But they brought him back to NXT, and now he's wrestling Karrion Kross. And so again, they really do nowadays for sure make sure to put the health of the superstars first. And again, I think
positive WWE story, Rick.
Yes, I think the
internet can't process that. No,
God knows we need a positive WWE story these days. But I'll say this much: there's one lesson to take away, and it's something that I always try to keep in the back of my mind. If somebody is off TV, chances are there is a reason for it. Or at least there is a good reason for it. And especially with everything going on today, I take every absence from TV with a grain of salt. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to complain about it, because I want to see these people on television, and I can only go off of the knowledge that I know. So sometimes I've had to eat some crow. Sometimes I have had to apologize for me jumping to reckless speculation, but never to the level that some people did with Keith Lee's absence. I just said, what the hell is going on? I hope Keith Lee's all right. Hopefully we'll see him back.
And he was on a hot streak too. He was on a hot streak when he got pulled there.
I think he'd still be the United States champion right now.
Yeah.
If this didn't go down. I truly do.
And I don't think this is a WWE problem. I think this is just a health issue, and it happened, and you just got to feel relieved that this guy is in a better place now. I mean, there isn't much more analysis you can think about. I'm hopeful that he can get back on the right track and become a bigger star. I mean, they went right away with it, and they put him right in the ring with Bobby Lashley.
They did.
On his return date in front of a live crowd. So if everyone thinks, oh, he lost that match and he did this, and here's the thing, guys. Whether or not you like the booking, that shows that WWE felt he was safe to do it. He was still a big star, that he can still go, that he can still be a real attraction. The ceiling has not been reached with Keith Lee, and I do think he's one of those guys. Sometime in the fall, we're talking about Keith Lee coming back bigger.
And maybe they're slow playing him, and that would be fine. I totally like
in this circumstance, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, he said he couldn't do more than a brisk walk, maybe for 4 months. For trust me, as a bigger guy,
night out, you're putting him in there with the Almighty,
right?
Bobby Lashley, we're gonna we're going to hear from Bobby Lashley in today's show, by the way. Too.
We are, yes. I did have
the
a chance.
WWE Champion. We're going to have him on the show.
Yeah, earlier today, I did have a chance to sit down with the almighty WWE Champion in one of the more infuriating interviews of my life. Nothing to do with the champ, everything to do with the crappy internet connections. I will tell you what, it was a couple weeks back when I was in Cleveland and I was talking to people live in person. Oh, it was so great not having to look down and check and make sure I had full bars and at the whim of whatever internet connection I'm at, whether it's at work or home. It was so damn nice not to have to worry about that. And then, of course, my first interview since then, when I have to rely on the internet, it craps out 3 different times. That the whole entire interview will drop tomorrow, whatever the video team can piece together. Oh.
All right. So you want to get to our negative WWE stories, right?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of those. Plenty of those to get to.
Friday Night SmackDown. You guys are covering it.
Yeah.
I tend to watch a lot of wrestling shows at night. I watch them in the morning the next day. I love watching SmackDown on Saturdays. It's my fun Saturday afternoon thing. And then I'll throw you guys on during like the commercial breaks. Like if I get near the end, I want to know what it is. I'll zip around. I like that. But that wasn't the case on Friday. As we got news that WWE released more than a dozen NXT superstars, including prominent names that have been with the company for a very, very long time, including Mercedes Martinez, longtime veteran who was recently suffered an injury in the ring, Bobby Fish, part of the Undisputed Era, and most prominently, a man who recently held the NXT North American Championship, Bronson Reed, a man we had on this program not too long ago. So right, a lot of names released. This is followed up by a report from Dave Meltzer, who quoted people saying that the company doesn't want any more midgets, people starting in their 30s, and they want attractions, box office attractions. So that word came out, and the internet obviously got mad because there's more releases in WWE. And we had the Bray Wyatt one just last weekend. So this comes out, and then we get word that many people, higher ups in WWE, want some serious changes to WWE NXT, and they want to see it geared in a stronger direction to create talent for Raw and SmackDown. It's a bummer story. Real bummer story.
It's one that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's the same thing like with all the main roster releases, and the excuse that always comes out is budget cuts, which I don't buy at all, especially when it comes down to a guy like Bray Wyatt. I think there is more to that story. It is not my job to find out more to that story, but maybe it will be one day. I don't know. But
it's our job to talk about what
it's again, I can only look at the information that is given to me, and that one makes me scratch my head. And when you have PW Insider coming out and saying that this is all part of another restructuring of NXT, again, to go younger, to go to part of, they're going to do a new logo and new rebranding and this, that, and the other thing. And they want to go younger. Makes no sense when you're releasing people like Jake Atlas, who is 26, just scratching the surface, is an absolute star if you give him a chance to go out there and do something. When you release when you release guys like Bronson Reed, would I consider Bronson Reed old? Not even close. Would I consider him small? Not even close. I mean, you got guys in here who are 26, 27, 28 who are absolute studs. Some guys that you just signed months ago because they had interest from AEW.
Alex Zane.
Yeah.
Alex Zane, yeah. They signed him a little while ago, and there was a little bit of a bidding war. I remember he was talking on both sides, or I heard rumblings that he was talking on both sides.
Yeah, so he signs with NXT, barely gets used, and then he gets released because they want to go younger. So they want to go, so I guess it's all incorporated into, they want to go younger, they want to get bigger, they want to go back to being developmental, is what they're doing with NXT. And I just sit there and I go, why? Like, I don't understand it. Just a few years ago, maybe just 2 years ago, you established NXT as the third brand. Remember when they kicked the ever-loving crap out of Raw and SmackDown at Survivor Series? Destroyed them. It was like 5-2-1. You declared NXT as like the top brand, and since, or at least one on equal footing of Raw and SmackDown, and since then it has been a steady decline back down to, okay, now we're just going to be strict developmental, which again, reports from Andrew Zarian say USA is not very, very happy about that one iota. They're scratching their head at some of these releases like Bronson Reed and Bobby Fish, who's one of the most, one of the best performers in NXT history, part of the best faction in NXT history, and he's just unceremoniously let go. And you're looking at all of these changes, wanting to go bigger, wanting to go younger. You got Adam Cole, whose contract is up soon. You got Pete Dunne's contract, who's up soon. And then I look at three other guys like Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and Kyle O'Reilly, and I go, what do all these changes mean for them? I can't be the only one who's genuinely concerned about what the future holds for those guys. If the quote unquote no more midget, no more smaller guy, that indie style of wrestling that we all love and has gotten really, really popular and is big in AEW, if that's going away, if they're branching away from that, I'm genuinely concerned about a few of those longer tenured stars on NXT for sure right now.
In no way is this me defending the releases.
Right? Apologist. No, I'm kidding.
There we go. But there has to be, well, if we agree this would be a boring show. If I didn't say why I think these things are happening. Number one, this show, AEW got them off of Wednesday nights.
I think that has a lot to do with what's going on. Yes.
And if you look at that, like, did we think anyone was going to be absolved of that? And also, everything we hear about these cuts is it was not one made by people that run NXT, that are the point people on NXT. Somebody came in, one of these changes made. All right. And maybe the network's unhappy or this or that, but you look at this week's NXT, there's more interest in this week's NXT. All right. They had a significantly tick up in viewership, in overnight viewership. And their 18 to 34 number was more interesting. Maybe some people were tuning in to see what the show is going to be like with some names off of it. But they still know where they're going. We still have TakeOver. We still have Joe versus Cross. Now we have Walter and Elena Dragunov coming over from Europe, and they have some great investments there. I'm not going to say it's all bad. It's certainly bad. This Bronson Reed makes no sense.
No sense.
Feel bad for Mercedes Martinez. Maybe the thing is you want to go a little bit younger. Notice everyone says, "Oh, they're getting rid of people in their 30s." They said they don't want anyone starting in their 30s. They don't want to recruit an athlete who's starting their wrestling journey in their 30s.
Damn it!
As someone who's in their 30s, I can get that. You know what I mean? Like I can get that to a degree.
I got a lot of ticks left on my bump card. All right, man. But they don't want no 5'8" overweight 30-year-old. I'm not their demo. I'm not what they're looking for.
So I get that, but it's still a bummer because you got a lot of people that had some very, very exciting things. And as I've said to people, is this a Nick Khan thing? Is this just this guy who's come in and is now really has WWE, not just Vince McMahon's ear, but like everyone's ear in WWE for all these different cuts? They've released so many different people. They've made so many different changes. Everyone thinks it's just wrestlers. That's what we see on the surface. But they made a lot of huge structural changes to their video departments, to their production departments. I mean, I think they're trying to run a leaner ship and have a higher profit value. And a lot of people think
that's the radio model. Do more with less. I mean, we're gonna cut, we're gonna trim, and the people who are left get the job done. That's
now you would think
radio companies across the country.
You would think with these big TV deals they've signed over the past few years, which are still in action, and I think many of those deals will still remain. I still think they'll get a lot of those deals because this is still WWE. And as much as everyone thinks AEW is going to flip the world, you just don't compete with brand awareness. Like I mean, you can, but you don't compete with something that's 80 years old. You know what I mean? And it is established.
Look,
you're coming at Disney here. This is Disney of wrestling.
Nothing that WWE has done this year is going to knock them off of the top of the mountain this year, or even next year, or the year after that.
For the people that are really mad about those releases, that's probably the hardest thing for them to hear. is they would think that these releases would be a huge mistake, and then the company's going to fall, right? And then we're going to root for the demise of all these different people in executive positions. Mind you, we don't even know 100% who made these calls. A lot of people think it was Vince McMahon call. We've heard a lot of different issues about this. The one thing we know for sure is this was not a Triple H Shawn Michaels call.
No.
So people came in, said, we need to make some changes. We're going to do some changes now. The thing I'll take from that is at least those people stepped in and said, if we want NXT to be a real show and really grow, we want to make some major changes to the show. So I would say there's an interest in that I think is intriguing. One thing that did worry me is when I saw that TakeOver was not going to be in Las Vegas, and it was not going to be a part of that traditional quarterly residency presentation that WWE's been doing for the past few years. And also it's going to be on a Sunday. It's going to be after SummerSlam in the Capitol Wrestling Center.
I don't think WWE is doing these changes with the idea of growth for NXT in mind. I think this is reverting back. I think over the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's all about been growing NXT and pushing them. And at times they have been the best show under WWE's umbrella.
It's not as popular as Raw and SmackDown. It's just not.
It's not. No, but it's for a while there, they were pulling the same number. If they had started at the same time as AEW, I think their numbers would be very comparable to AEW. Now, again, AEW is growing because they are adding these monster stars, one after another. Miro, Andrade, Christian. Now they bring in Malachi Black, CM Punk, and Daniel Bryan reportedly on the way. They're only going to get bigger and bigger. They bring in somebody like Sting, even if he's just showing up and standing on the outside. Like, fuck, man, it's still Sting. He's still out there. He's doing the kicks with Orange Cassidy. All right, like that show is genuinely entertaining. And Colt Cabana said something on either his podcast or somebody else's show where he said, "Look, we don't treat our audience like they're dummies." That's the thing is like we reward our audience for remembering the past, and we book towards long term, and that's where WWE goes. They book more towards the casual audience, and that's why they try to bring, and that's who they try to bring in, which is why you get guys like Goldberg and John Cena showing up for these major shows like SummerSlam. So it's a difference in philosophy, and WWE knows, I believe that they know they have to start building up the next big crop of stars for their company. And I think, anybody who doesn't fit that mold, I think they're letting go right now. I think they made a massive mistake in letting go Bronson Reed, because I think that is somebody who could be one of those big stars. The guy is a really, really talented super heavyweight, the best one in the world, according to the man that himself, who's now going by the name of Jonah on social media. So I think they made a lot of mistakes with these releases, and how they've gone about doing business this year has definitely left a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouths. But again, it's that P1. WWE, they tend to go more toward the casual audience than their diehards, because they got you. They know they got the diehards. AEW, they reward their diehards more than anything. How will that shake out over the course of time? I don't know, but WWE is not going away anytime soon. And we'll see if AEW can make some headway here. But I do think that NXT is being punished for sure for losing the Wednesday Night Wars. I think they are 100%. I don't think Vince McMahon has a whole lot of respect for AEW, and I think them losing really made Vince McMahon sour on NXT. And that's pure speculation on my part, but that's just my gut feeling about it.
I don't know. There's so much about it I don't know, and I want to know. But there's so much I don't know. And I would love to see NXT get on the road again if they can do that with everything that's going on. But hey, with the Delta variant, who knows? They just want to keep it easy and run with the crew they have. I completely get that. We got some good news. Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae made a great statement here. They put up the picture. A baby is on the way, and they put little kick pads, little baby kick pads were there. I thought that was adorable that they had little baby kick pads there. They will be welcoming a child in the future. Congratulations to them. Candice LeRae did get to hold some gold before she did this big transition in her life. I don't think this is the end of her wrestling career. There are people that wrestle in WWE that are mothers. That is gentlemen. You have to learn that women can do a lot of amazing things, because I've already heard people say, look, well, this is the end of her WWE. Oh, shut up. You are such a You are, oh man, dude, you need to live your life and talk to more people. Maybe women, actual adults.
Yeah, go meet a girl. Go actually meet and talk to a female, and and do that first.
Yeah. So I saw that, but congratulations to Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, having a baby on the way. Got to think that maybe you see some maternity leave from both these people, kind of getting out of the ring.
For sure, absolutely, and good for them. Take as much time as you want. It'll be a while before we see Candice LeRae back in the ring, but I think we will see her. Doesn't mean she can't do some vignette video type stuff that we've seen before. I think Johnny Gargano is very, very creative. If he wants to keep Candice LeRae in the fold with the way and the videos and the index, everything that's going on between Dexter Lumis and Indy, I think absolutely they can continue to have Candice take part. And I think there's some really creative stuff that they could do that Johnny's going to want to do down the line. But yeah, there's going to be some maternity leave in their future, and good. Take as much time as you want. Trust me. As somebody who has had two, there is not enough time you can take away in this world.
I love those vignettes this week on NXT. I absolutely loved them. They were all short. They were chunky. They were funny. Each one of them had a good standout joke in it. Indy Hartwell going on this date with Dexter Lumis and her parents, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. We buy these kids this house to protect them and show them the way. Enjoyed our little cult, and Austin's off in the woods, and now we have her going out with him. I'm gonna go talk to her. Do you have protection? Of course I have protection. I'm a former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. I have protection. Just posing, doing the double bind.
This does make me wonder though if the way has a future in NXT, because you can kind of read the tea leaves here. Both Indy and Austin Theory have been working dark matches, both on Raw and SmackDown. So maybe they're being looked at for some main roster call ups. Indy isn't going to be in a tag team by herself, so maybe this index stuff is a way for her to kind of break away from the way, shall we say. But it's going to be interesting whether or not that group is able to stay together, and maybe it just splits up naturally, and that would be fine. I think Raw especially could use Indy Hartwell in its women's division, which is something that we'll get to here. But that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch, is how much longer does the way stay together, and whether or not they ultimately just go their separate ways.
Over in AEW, obviously they're shaking things up. Got a lot of stuff going on. So this Friday they will debut their new television show. Not another not another web show, but a new television show. This will air on TNT, leading up to a change for Dynamite on Wednesdays coming up in about a month or so, when Wednesday switches over to TBS. So it'll be a very interesting scenario for them. On top of that, you have All Out coming up Labor Day weekend. And then you have this Rampage show. Now, the second version, the second edition episode of this will emanate from the United Center, August 20th, the night before SummerSlam in the United Center. Over 20,000 tickets have been sold for this show. So that is how red hot the AEW brand is. They're going to run Chicago twice with a week of residency for Dynamite. And All Out. And you wonder why. And Rampage just seems like they're just selling on rumor and innuendo and reports. And what the fans are talking about, and the thing they're talking about is CM Punk. Okay, so let's just get this ahead of yourselves. CM Punk is all but expected to make his a triumphant arrival and return to professional wrestling on August 20th at the home of the Chicago Blackhawks, his favorite hockey team, home of the Chicago Bulls, in the city he made famous for wrestling, and one of the hottest wrestling markets in the country. Punk is going to be on Heels, the TV show on Stars.
That looks
he was
really
wrestling
good,
on,
by the way.
Yeah, he's wrestling on this Ricky Rabies.
Yeah, and it's weird because like he's playing like this middle-aged wrestler who is out of shape. Like he's not like he looks like me wrestling, but still a little skinny, the fat skinny wrestler. But he looks weird. He's got like no tattoos or anything like that. It just doesn't look right.
Whenever I see that, whenever they cover up someone's tattoos, is like, how do you work like that? Like, is there stuff you got to put on that they have to constantly touch it up and all that stuff?
I think he's got a bodysuit on because, like I said, that's not what his figure looks like.
But the picture I saw, it is alarming to see him because you're so used to see him covered in tattoos, right?
Right.
So it was alarming to not see him in tattoos. Like it was like alarming. I was like, wait,
It-
where was that guy?
It took my brain like time to register. I'm sitting there going, "Is that Punk? That's not Punk." Oh, shit.
That show premieres on the 15th, August 15th on Stars. If you get it, let us know what you think of it. But also, Rampage is premiering this week. Where is that from? What is that from?
That's from Archer.
Okay.
Have you ever?
Oh, love Archer. Yeah, love Archer. Underrated show. So
Every time I think of literally every time I hear Rampage, that's what I think of is the episode where he goes on the killing spree for like the Irish mob.
Rampage!
solid drop. I hope that audio got picked up on our end.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I didn't even think
It'd
about
be
it.
weird. If you didn't hear that was Rampage. Just for Archer. So this show's going to air on Friday nights after SmackDown.
At 10 o'clock, yeah. They're
What do you
making
think of
people
that
stay
play?
up on a Friday night. I think it's smart.
Are we asking too much of a wrestling audience on a tough TV night as it was? Because a lot of people thought the weirdest thing that WWE was doing when they went over to SmackDown on Fox was they were going to be on Friday nights. Now, proved to be a good move because it's the most watched pro wrestling show by a wide margin. Everyone looks at those overnight numbers. By the time this show gets to Monday or Tuesday, you're talking about 4 or 5 million people watching it. Everyone talks about that overnight number. I want to talk about that 4 or 5 day number. You know, it's doing very, very well. Also tends to be one of the more popular shows on Hulu too. So it was like that's a strong number. I mean, this show competed with basketball games. SmackDown's a strong show. Now, the issue is AEW had some nights where they were moved during the NBA playoffs. They had some dynamites they did on Friday nights, and they didn't do a great number. It was fine. But this is a show now. This is its own show. It's only an hour. All right. And it's definitely being positioned to pivot off wrestling audiences that are tuned in to television live on Friday nights with SmackDown. And maybe we can make some of those fans into AEW fans.
I would not be surprised if this time slot changes sooner rather than later. Either it is widely successful and they decide to add a second hour, and then all of a sudden we're competing. They're going to go 8 o'clock head to head with SmackDown.
I think that would be. I wouldn't do it.
Or nobody's going to watch because it's 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and they're going to switch to a Saturday show or put it on Thursdays or something. 10 o'clock at night on a Friday. I get what they're trying to do. They want that lead in. They want people to switch right from SmackDown over to AEW. And if they get
and a lot of this is Warner Media, TNT, where they're broadcasting. This isn't just AEW saying we want to be on TV whenever we want.
Right. I do think it was smart right off the bat not to try to compete with SmackDown because it is the most watched show. It is WWE's regularly their best programmed show. Now, but AEW, they're coming out swinging this week. They got 3 title matches on the card. They got Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. I love Britt Baker, but I hate Pittsburgh. So I will be.
Why is that?
Because they suck.
City of Three Rivers. What are you talking about?
The city sucks. They can take those terrible towels and shove them up your new.
I want to apologize to my close personal friend Dominic D'Angelo of WrestleZone.com. Want to apologize to him and his family, wonderful people from Pittsburgh. All right, and all those disparaging things that you just said about the fine people there.
From Andy Brother sucks. Everything about your city sucks.
I want you to open up that door and like Troy Polamalu is just coming through. They're just wrecking you, just destroying you.
I did
and then he stomps on your Becky Lynch pop up.
I did cover the. I did cover the Bengals like 1 year, the 1 year that James Harrison was in Cincinnati. That was, yeah. Okay. No, I would, I'll take back everything I said about the city of Pitt. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, that man is scary up close. James Harrison is, that's for damn sure. And
He's a human bus. He's a human bus.
Literally a human bus. But screw Pittsburgh. I hope to see Red Velvet take one of those Pittsburgh towels and just shine her boots with it, or do something even more nefarious with it. Light one on fire for all I care. I think that would get a great.
What else do they have on this Rampage debut? I have to get you off your regional sports rants.
The most interesting match I think on the entire card is Christian and Kenny Omega. Not fighting for the AEW World Championship because Christian was named the #1 contender for that title at All Out. But Christian went to good old TK and said, hey, look, Kenny's got a wide array of belts over there. Why don't you give me a shot at one of those other ones? And now he is going to be challenging for the Impact World Championship Friday on Rampage in Pittsburgh. I'm very, very intrigued by this. And right now, I would put it at very good odds that Christian walks away as the Impact World Champion, because why would Christian lose to Omega on Friday and then still get the opportunity at Omega again, unless he's screwed out of it, unless we get like WWE style booking here? Why would Christian get another shot at Omega when he already lost? Because as we know in AEW, wins and losses matter. So I guess the question is, do you buy that Christian is going to be the guy who gets the shot at All Out, or does he lose on Friday and then ultimately because of that lose out on his opportunity at All Out and they pull somebody else in there, somebody like a CM Punk or Hangman Adam Page? It's confusing is what it is.
Confusing. And no one's going to like this because no one likes hearing anything. You can't say anything bad about them. You have to be on the team, right? You have to be on the team. And this is the team of people.
What's
and
the
like,
term? What's the term people are throwing about? Is it AEW sexual? Is that the term that the IWC's come up with?
The AEW, the internet wrestling community has an identity, and my identity is anything that McMahon doesn't like.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was talking about.
I was a day one WWE Network subscriber, but I have listened. I have listened to Grandpapa Dave Meltzer. All hail Tony Khan. Suck it, McMahon. That's right, we're taking that. You cannot cease and desist me and my friends. IWC 69 Scott out. All right, so that's IWC 69 Scott. That type of fan who has called me a WWE apologist because I live in this world called
apologist
reality. So the reality of the situation is Christian is one of the best wrestlers of his generation. He absolutely is. It was shocking when he came over. But the circumstances that he came over were big guys coming. Big guys going to sign with AEW. Big name's going to be here. And he came out, and it was definitely shocking. But because AEW listens to their fans and does what the fans want, they know their fans aren't dummies, right? They're not dummies, right? Those fans are saying, well, CM Punk's coming here. We're going to get CM Punk. We've just said that it's CM Punk. We're getting CM Punk, so this is CM Punk. Remember that pay-per-view? Remember that? Double or Nothing? Mm-hmm. And then Christian came out, and everyone's like, where's CM Punk? Because we were saying it was going to be CM Punk, and it wasn't CM Punk. Because we're online and we're saying it, so it's got to be CM Punk. Now we're actually hearing validated reports from real people saying he's going there. And you have AEW characters on television using CM Punk's catchphrases to tease things, right? And they're all but letting their fans make the noise and be the beehive for them. And they're the honeybees, right? And you're bringing them back to the nest. That is what AEW is doing. It's very, very clever, especially for a brand at their scale that isn't massive as WWE, but they're selling out arenas and they're really beating the drum with their diehard audience, right? They don't have casuals. They have AEW fans, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Problem with that when you're doing marketing is it becomes a hive mind where you can't do anything outside of the hive mind. But once you turn on the hive, it becomes alarmingly obvious that you've taken advantage of these people that are dedicated to you while also wanting to tell them something else. This is just like WrestleMania 30. That crowd wants Adam Hangman Page to take down Kenny Omega. That is what you've been building to. That's where you're going. And then you just told Hangman Page, go back down the card. Maybe there's something with Hangman Page. That's the reason why you're not doing that. And now you're going with Christian, and you're going to put it on TV, and you're going to do this. And Christian's an established name, and no one would argue that. All right, he's absolutely a fantastic performer. Hall of Fame level guy. He will go in the WWE Hall of Fame. Even if he's still in AEW, he'll go in the WWE Hall of Fame. No arguing that. But Page is the guy that people wanted in this match. That's what you built. That's what they wanted. That's where this is going. And AEW has this thing where, well, if we drag things out, because we only do quarterly pay-per-views, we're not like WWE. We don't insult your intelligence. You know, we give you real storytelling. This is alarming. We were doing that, but now we're just going to go do something else because we want to drag that out even further.
Yeah, there are reports that Hangman is unavailable for All Out, which is why he's not getting the title opportunity. And if that is the case, that's perfect sense. If he's not available, he's not available. I'm not even going to speculate or look.
And this is a pivot. This is a pivot.
Right. This is absolutely a pivot. And it's, to a lot of people, it's an underwhelming pivot. You saw on Dynamite this week, like the second that Christian was announced as the number one contender, they started chanting for CM Punk. Like they started chanting. They weren't until Christian called Omega a jagoff. That crowd in Pittsburgh was incredibly underwhelmed.
Good on Christian, because he knew he had to bring him back in. He knew
exactly. He's a pro. He's a pro's pro. But Christian's run so far in AEW, it has been a slow build. He hasn't lost any matches. He lost the over the top battle royal. He's done a great job in helping Jungle Boy get over. Jungle Boy is over AF. Jungle Boy got the loudest pop of the night on AEW when his music came out next to Christian. That crowd was very, oh, hey, cool, it's Christian. And then Jungle Boy's music hit and the roof blew off the joint. All right. So I don't know if you
how much of this they just get to sing the song.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it because people are that damn simple. Yeah. Why do people love Shinsuke Nakamura? Because they love to sing along to his music.
His theme song's over again.
Yes.
Boogs and Pat McAfee making that a special attraction every week.
Absolutely. And look, and I guarantee you, he'll be Intercontinental Champion inside of a month. I guarantee
Love it.
Happen. I feel bad for Apollo Crews because it definitely seems like he's just falling down a well again now that the crowds are back. But man, you know, I feel bad for Christian because I think people should be more ecstatic for this. I know when he first showed up and he teased, hey, look, I'm going to take on Hangman Adam Page, but I'm going to earn my way there. I was excited to see Omega and Christian. And now it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of people that are excited to see Omega and Christian. I still am. I hope this is the match at All Out. I don't think Christian's going to win. I would not be surprised, though, if he walks away Friday with the Impact World title. That would be my guess, is somehow,
so they have some type of moment on their first Rampage show.
I would say something along the lines of some gang war shenanigans type stuff where maybe Jungle Boy helps Christian capture the Impact World title as a way to help protect Omega some more. Man, unless they're trying to do a swerve here where Christian is not the guy at All Out and they move to a CM Punk or bring back Hangman.
Rick, wake me up when AEW doesn't finish their show with 19 people in the ring again. Why do they gotta do this?
They do that a lot.
Everyone lets them off the hook on that too. It drives me crazy.
Not everybody.
I know, but there's more people joining the chorus in this one. How many times are you going to do the crash ending on Dynamite where everyone gets in the ring and then there's a run-in? And they've done this where they had a singles match and they're like, hey, we got 2 minutes left here. And they're singing on commentary. Got to make sure we get 15 people in the ring with 45 different corresponding
everybody's got to get their TV time. Everybody's got to get their TV time, man.
No, not everybody needs to get their TV time to tell a story. Let it breathe. An Adult Swim. Let some people do some long strokes in that pool. All right, it's getting crowded.
It does remind me.
You remember the Simpsons episode when they get the pool, right? When they get the pool, and there's too many kids to get in the pool, and the pool blows up.
Yes,
that's what it feels like some weeks on Dynamite. I'm telling you,
they do it a lot. And
I'm gonna find that meme. And IWC 69 Scott is gonna be really, really pissed off.
They do it
like that we have a new character on the show, IW69 Scott.
They do that a lot, and they do it multiple times a night, too. Multiple storylines, and always, there's a lot that there's a lot of outside.
You know how people get mad when WWE does too many rematches on TV?
Yeah, I'm one of them.
It is that same like nails behind my ears feeling when I was like, here's 50 people in the ring again. You know, like here it is. Nothing. And it's just too much, too many pieces. And guess what? You don't remember any of it. You don't remember any of it. None of it is, you don't remember it. Why do people still remember the ending they did last week with Malachi and Cody, which was corny, right? The reason they remember it is it's just two guys in the ring. It was like 45 people in the ring.
Yeah, it wasn't Malachi and Kenny and like 19 other people who were jumping Cody at the end of the show. It was just Malachi hit him with the crutch.
And I get where sometimes it's really entertaining, right? But it's so played out. It's so played out.
Dude, it's, it all comes down to the right portion, right? Like you can have really, really rich cheesecake, but after you have like 2 or 3 bites of it, that's enough. After that,
the problem is, I don't know if that parlays into an hour-long show, 2-hour show, cram a bunch of people in there. You have some bandwidth to do that. Do you have that bandwidth now with an hour-long show, which they're saying is going to be a handful of really, really good matches every single week. We're going to have some solid matches, and you're going to get some really, really cool stuff. It's a tight time frame. That's an hour. It's an hour.
It's a tight time frame, but I'll tell you the one thing I'm more concerned about is a 4-man broadcast booth for an hour show. That to me screams train wreck for an hour show. I don't know how long that's going to last.
They may have some people just sitting back during some matches, though, too, on that regard.
I would hope.
That'll be Excalibur with Mark Henry, Chris Jericho, and who am I forgetting?
Paul White.
Paul White. So I mean, yeah, you got those guys under contract. You got to use them. Got to do something with them.
I get it. I don't know if
it's crowded at the commentary table. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of guys. Hell, they got so many run-ins on commentary on Dynamite. I mean, it really is.
Oh, dude, what happens when they have somebody come in and they need to get into the commentary table? Like, oh, there's no chairs. You're just going to have to stand at the end. Let's try to get your headset.
It is, man. Dynamite is really kind of a no holds barred attitude. Like anything can happen and does happen on that show, and sometimes it goes off the rails.
Which makes it really exciting. Like that makes it like a very, very fun show. It reminds you of like Raw and Nitro in the '90s when they were really trying to play for the quarter hours, and yeah, it was fun.
It is the antithesis of Monday Night Raw. It's very exciting. Monday Night Raw right now, I'm sorry, despite the bevy of talent at their fingertips, is boring AF most of the time. And it is very, very unfortunate. And it is something that I want to ask Kevin whether or not
not just me, people watching, people listening.
Right.
What are they?
No, I want to ask everybody because I got some thoughts on this. What can we do? What can WWE do to get Raw back on track? But before we get there, I did have a chance to sit down with the WWE Champion today, Bobby Lashley, for about 30 minutes. I think actually about 10 of that was the interview. The rest of that was internet connection problems. But he was very generous with his time with me today. And I did ask him a very, very important question. And it did surround the Hurt Business, who was once 4 and is back down to 2. And I wanted to know what everybody else wanted to know.
What's that?
I did want to ask you about the Hurt Business. You know, obviously WWE is a changing landscape. The Hurt Business used to be 4; it's down to 2. There was a kick there where MVP was on a recruiting tour, and a lot of fans have been wondering maybe will there be any new additions made to the Hurt Business. One name that gets brought up a lot in the internet wrestling community is a guy like Keith Lee. You want to talk about 2 dudes who were 2 Brahma Bulls beating the hell out of each other. That's what you 2 dudes did a couple weeks back. Interesting names like Naomi pop up all the time. Have there been discussions between yourself and MVP about possibly adding to the Hurt Business, or is it just focused on Bobby Lashley at this moment?
Nope. We've discussed it.
Not gonna open up the curtain there a little bit for me.
You keep business behind closed doors. That was a secret meeting between MVP and myself. I can't let you know. If I let you know, then it's gonna be all over the internet the next day. Bobby Lashley said he's gonna pick up Keith Lee. Bobby Lashley. There's a lot of people that I think could use a little bit of assistance, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of guidance. And we do have a couple people in mind. I think some of those names that you said are are worthy members. But then again, some of the guys that we had before, Sheldon and Cedric, those guys are incredible talents also. Don't know what we're going to do with the Hurt Business, but I know that there's room. There's room for growth.
I tried so hard.
Hey, dude. Hey, he put the Hurt Lock on.
Oh, he did. He's
And
like,
he stuffed that thing out. But
take your journalistic integrity
he
and
didn't-
shove it up your ass. That's what Bobby Lashley said.
he was pleasant about his
No,
response.
He knew
Also,
I had to ask.
He also, Rick, I'm gonna be frank, maybe because I'm the apologist. He don't owe you shit, Rick. He don't owe you a scoop. He don't owe you a scoop. You scoop your own Raisin Bran, buddy. All right, you don't owe you a scoop. Look at you trying to scoop the Almighty like that, trying to get one on him. All right, these impenetrable defenses, I say.
Hey, all I'm going to say, I'm going to go wildly speculative here, and I'm just going to say he wants Keith Lee in the Hurt Business. That's what I read into that. That's what I read.
Well, you brought up Money at Raw. I was at Money at Raw a few weeks ago. And I had a good time, but I definitely felt like, hey, this is a show that needs something else on it. It's got a lot of really talented wrestlers on it.
Yep.
I think it has some of the best wrestlers in the world. Whether or not people like to agree with that, it is. Wrestling fans have the most recent thing they reacted to is their completely determining emotion of all time, right? But Charlotte Flair is one of the best wrestlers in the world. She's there. Drew McIntyre is one of the best baby faces in wrestling. He's there. Goddamn, Jinder Mahal is making something out of himself right now as a villain on the show. And Bobby Lashley is one of the most dominating and convincing world champions in professional wrestling at the moment. But this is a 3-hour show that kind of drags. This is a 3-hour show that has a lot of rematches on it. This is a 3-hour show that needs something. It's time, even though they're in front of fans, we have to ask ourselves, because we're on a show and we get to talk about wrestling and say what we want to see, right? I want to hear what the fans want to see. I want to see what you want to do, Rick. Let's reboot Raw. All right? Raw reboots. I want you guys to get down in the comments and give us your Raw reboots. Things you want on Raw. Doesn't mean you have to get rid of something, all right? But what do you want to see change, all right? Maybe it's a little fantasy booky, but I want you to be productive. Don't just say, I like this guy who hasn't wrestled in 15 years and I want him on TV. No. We're not bringing back Hardcore Holly. God bless Hardcore Holly. He'll chop my nipples off, all right? But
I feel like there's a backstory there.
Dude, you chop a nipple hard, man. You see a Hardcore Holly, he'll rip your peck off, all right? That's what
okay. A chop. Like, sorry. When you said chop, I thought butcher knife, never mind.
You're the wrestler.
Dude, I'm tired. That's just where my brain went. All right. That's just where my brain went. I heard chop and I'm thinking Chucky. I'm not thinking Ric Flair. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hey, sometimes we go off the rails, folks. It's all right.
There we go.
And look, now here's the other thing. Like, it's really, really easy to say, oh, we'll get rid of Vince and everything will be fine. It's not happening. Like,
no.
Let's
Also, I don't think that's a good thing, guys. There's a lot of things about WWE that are really, really cool, that you really, really like, that you really, really love, that he absolutely 100% completely crafted with maybe one or two other people.
Yeah, I think he's lost. I think he's a little out of touch nowadays with what the fans want, but the fans are also fickle and they want something different every other week. And that's that.
We saw it on Dynamite.
We
didn't care, We saw it on Dynamite when they turned on the cage thing. Yeah,
they plays a lot into decision making for sure, which is why I think, to their credit, WWE just puts their head down and does what they believe to be right. I don't agree with a lot of the decisions that they make, but particularly when it comes to Raw, look, I don't think there's really kind of any major overnight change that you can make to Monday Night Raw. I think, they rely a lot on these little blips and these little pops from guys like John Cena or Edge or Goldberg to help pop a rating every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But, there are nothing else other than that is really going to make a big change. And even when you bring in somebody like that, if Becky Lynch returned, knock on wood, if she returned this coming Monday, yeah, that would pop a rating and people would tune in the next week. But she only makes up for about 15 minutes of the show, maybe 20, maybe 30 if she has a match. You still got the rest of the show to worry about. And the rest of the show,
3-hour show every single week.
Yeah, and
I think it's the biggest challenge that Raw has is it's a 3-hour show every single week. Now that we're almost 8 years into the show being 3 hours. Right?
Yeah, something like that. And that's the other thing is you can sit there. I've had when I was putting together, this, I was polling some people on the SK staff, and a lot of people said, get rid of the third hour. Get rid of the third hour. Get rid of the third hour.
So much money. It's not going to happen.
Not gonna happen. That's not a simple fix.
So I will disqualify anyone in the comments if you say get rid of the third hour. Raw.
Vince McMahon going away, not happening. Getting rid of the third hour. Simple to say, not a simple task. They get paid a lot of money.
So then we've talked about what's wrong. Tell me what you want to do that's going to make it right.
I outlined this in a video for Sportskeeda. You can see that up on the YouTube right now. I think there are some little subtle tweaks that you can make right now, right this second. They're not going to pay off overnight, but they're going to pay off in the long run. And one of them is you got to establish, especially on Monday night, who's the next crop of top tier guys, because you do have an issue. Presumably, when Lashley is done with Goldberg, who's next? Pun intended. Is there any obvious choice? If you go over on AEW right now and say, okay, well, once Omega beats Christian, who's next? You have a myriad of options. You have guys like Darby Allin who could step in. You got a guy like Malachi Black who could step in. Hangman Adam Page makes a lot of sense. There are guys over. Jungle Boy makes a lot of sense. There are guys over and over and over again that you could say make a ton of sense. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk when they come in. John Moxley could get back in there immediately because they keep dudes strong over there. On Monday Night Raw, Kevin, who's next? Who's the heir apparent? Who steps up? Because you got your top established guys. Drew McIntyre, he's been in the WWE title picture long enough. He hasn't had that much of an extended break. You got AJ Styles and Randy Orton. They're in tag team programs right now. The two younger guys that you have done a good job of building up are Omos and Riddle. They're in that same tag title program. So where do you go? If you're Raw, you have to establish who are your top level guys. Are they? Is it Keith Lee? Is it Karrion Kross? Is it AJ? Is it AJ Styles? Is it Matt Riddle? Is it Omos?
Who is it for you? Who do you want to be those top guys?
I think there are 5 names that I would focus on. I think they're doing a good job with Omos and Riddle. I think Damian Priest is a guy that to a certain extent they're doing a good job building up. They have protected him in the win-loss category. Karrion Kross and Keith Lee, they could do better with those guys. If I'm picking 5 from the main roster right now, those are my 5 guys that I'm building up. And you have to protect them at all cost, which means don't put Keith Lee and Karrion Kross in 2 random matches and go 50-50 booking because that doesn't help anybody. If you're trying to build up a guy like Damian Priest, I love Damian Priest. I'm a big John Morrison guy. When they announced on Monday night that they were wrestling for the 8th time in some variation or another since WrestleMania, I immediately tuned out. I didn't want to watch those two fight each other anymore. I just didn't. I have no interest in watching Damian Priest and John Morrison or Damian Priest versus The Miz again. Damian Priest, since he was brought up in January outside of the Royal Rumble, has faced the same 6 guys since he's been brought up. It's August. He's faced 6 guys between January and August. I would like to see different matchups, fresh matchups. When you look at AEW, part of the thing that what they do so well is making each individual show feel special. Feel like its own thing, not giving you the same thing week in and week out. And I think they could do a better job of protecting and building up their next level guys. And at the same point, also protecting all of their champions and making the entire show feel like it means something. Because right now you look at a guy like Apollo Crews, he's lost twice to Shinsuke Nakamura already. So when Shinsuke Nakamura wins the Intercontinental Championship, presumably, it's not going to have as big of an impact. Can you imagine if WWE booked all of their champions the way that they book Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley? Or the way AEW books Miro? When somebody finally beats Miro for that TNT title, it's going to make the guy who beats him. When somebody beats Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship, it's going to make the guy who beats him. Same thing with Bobby Lashley. Sheamus just lost to Damian Priest, who is the same guy that he's facing at SummerSlam. Sheamus, granted he was injured for a little bit, has only defended the United States title one time. One time since he won the damn thing at WrestleMania.
Injury, though. Got his nose broken.
got his nose broken. He was out for a couple of weeks, but still, we're talking over the span of a few months here. He could have been defending that Intercontinental.
And now he has a gnarly face mask.
I like that face mask a lot, and I like that they're using it as a weapon too. But I mean, it's like they put titles on people, and then it's just they don't do anything with it. Really, who's been Apollo Cruz's big feud since he won the Intercontinental Championship?
You're talking about SmackDown. Keep it on Monday nights, Rick.
Okay, fine. Who has been Sheamus's big rival since he won the United States title? Humberto Carrillo? That they had to stretch out because granted he got hurt. Like they put titles on these guys and it doesn't matter. You'll notice like if they want to book something correctly, if they want it to feel special, they'll execute it flawlessly. We're not watching Edge and Seth Rollins wrestle each other every week, but we're getting some variation of the Mysterios and the Usos every damn week. And then those guys are going to fight each other at SummerSlam. And it's like, I don't care because I'm tired of watching these guys wrestle one another. Get creative with the booking. Have people face each other. Protect your champions and protect.
I love the variations of Mysterios and the Usos because they've had really good matches. And I think they have some great chemistry and they're doing some cool stuff with Dominic. But Monday Night Raw. Why do you reboot Monday Night Raw? 3-hour show. Here's what I would do. You got 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 3 hours. And we've heard rumblings of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Okay.
Sure, we have.
And we've heard rumblings of WWE needs to do something fresh. And they tried something with Raw Underground. I mean, you can say whatever you think about Raw Underground. They tried to make something different, and it looked different.
I liked it. I did.
They came and went. They try whatever you want. That was a radical different thing for WWE to do and make it different, a different circumstance. I think something that's different is you already have the players. Give them something that elevates it. I would love a Monday Night Raw to feel like an appointment viewing. Monday Night Raw presents Queen of the Ring exclusively on Monday Night Raw. Have it only on Monday Night Raw. You're only getting this tournament on Monday Night Raw. And Money in the Bank's coming up. Guess what? Before Money in the Bank, we're doing one of those ladder matches here on Raw. All right. And this may weaken your presence on Peacock, but guess what? It's all coming back to NBC Universal. All right. So they're all getting a little taste of it. Doing big payoff things on television. You have more than enough TV that you can make those moments matter sometimes on television. And I think you can get that with the crowning moment of the Queen of the Ring, the crowning moment of something like this, a big rumble, a different concept, Raw Roulette we haven't seen in a long time. Ideas that you have that are there, that are just like gathering dust or something like that. Steel Cage Monday night. We're giving you 2 steel cage matches to open and end Monday night. I mean, are these simple gimmicks? And I'm just going back to them. Yeah, but WWE does a good job with making gimmicks matter. They can play them out a little bit. But I mean, we had a Hell in a Cell match on TV, right? So like,
we did.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. You're right. And to your credit, yes, those help and those definitely do.
Clash of the Titans.
Show.
Every quarter, there should be a big thing on Monday Night Raw that feels like it's a pay-per-view, maybe coming off of payper-view or leading into one that they have on Peacock or WWE Network.
I would bring back social media style reactionary shows.
Yeah.
The Cyber Tuesdays or the Cyber Sundays or the Taboo Tuesdays.
And also
Manic Mondays, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. Yeah, it works. It works because those ideas were way ahead of their time. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't. I agree with you. They would pop ratings and they can make them feel special, but it still doesn't solve the core problems, which is nobody's protected, nobody gets over, and wins and losses don't matter. And until you actually fix those on a long term,
it plays out what you're talking about because it gives you a little bit more. We're going here. This is the end game. We don't have to get everything onto a pay-per-view. We know with you guys who aren't going to be on, say, SummerSlam, that we got this for you with our special edition of Monday Night Raw coming up mid-September. All right. And if you're not going to be on the next pay-per-view for you guys, we got this coming up for you guys for our special edition of Monday Night Raw coming up mid-October. All right. When we do Halloween Havoc on Monday Night Raw, all right, we got something for you guys here or something like that. That's a lot of property, and that's not insulting your intelligence. It's telling diehard fans they can tune in. It's telling them they're going to have something appealing, that you're going to get something meaningful. Then the wins, then the losses matter, and you have the players. Give me more gravity to what's on TV, and by doing that, add something that's fun and exciting. That isn't just another match. If they're going to do Damian Priest versus John Morrison again, do one of those awesome Falls Count Anywhere matches. Do something crazy. Go for broke. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to break the mold to do this. This isn't like to me it is. You don't have to break the mold to do this. Make the TV matches become appointments, especially every few weeks. You can't do it every week, but make it feel like that every time that you can. Every quarter. Give me something big like that.
And I think you could do those things and mix them in and kind of help bridge the gap towards making the slower long-term investments, because that's what these are. You're investing in the product long-term to make it better. And it takes time for things to pay off when you invest. You got to help you get your superstars over somehow. So having matches that matter, having stakes, going it kind of along the same lines of what I've been talking about with the mid card is like making sure that the mid card matters. Like get rid of these championship contenders matches because they suck. Because you shouldn't have to beat the champion to maybe get a shot at the champion. Because one, you either lose and then you're out, or
there are more than enough guys and gals in WWE that can take a pinfall to get somebody ready for a match to take on a champion.
And again, I know we're talking about, fixes to Raw, but we even see a little bit of this on SmackDown sometimes. You had that 6-man tag a few weeks ago where Apollo was tagging with Ziggler and Rude, and he's the one who ate the pin in the 6-man tag match. Literally any of the guys in that match who aren't currently a champion are better options to lose. And then for some reason they had Apollo lose. It makes Apollo look bad. It doesn't make him look like he's worthy enough to be that championship holder. And then it makes you go, well, I guess the Intercontinental title doesn't matter much, because you get that mindset. And we've heard, rumblings before of people in the back that nobody cares about the Intercontinental title or nobody cares about the United States title or the tag team titles. First off, yes, we do. Secondly, if we don't, it's because we've been conditioned by you that those titles don't mean anything. So again, it's all about making everything matter. Have matches with stakes. Go back to the good old days of number one contenders matches. Have Shinsuke Nakamura win 3 matches in a row. Have Cesaro win 3 matches in a row. Then when they both come out and say, hey, look, I deserve a shot at the IC title. No, I deserve a shot at the IC title. Oh, here comes Sonya Deville down to the ring. You two can fight it out, and the winner's going to face Apollo Crews at SummerSlam. It's simple. Get back to the basics. Just get back to the basics. Make things matter. Help your stars get over. Another case in point with Nikki ASH. All right. And this was something that I didn't even think of until I saw Cher Delaware. She's the one who tweeted it out. Her kids love Nikki ASH. Absolutely adore her. Nikki ASH was not on the show on Monday until 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. You know what's wrong with that? Her core demo's in bed.
Kids don't get to see her.
Kids don't get to see her. I get being the last match or being in the main event is a big deal, but for certain characters, got to kick off the show. Nikki
Also
ASH.
TV.
Also,
Saturday night's main event. You go back to that concept when WWE had that on NBC. Hogan always opened those. He very rarely, unless he was doing an angle or something later on in the night. If he was wrestling on those, he was always in the opening. Yeah. And then they would have like a cool tag team match or a workers match, later on in the night.
Sure. Now again, kids can go back and watch stuff on YouTube, but that doesn't help your ratings. And not everybody does it. But if you have kids who are staying up till 9 o'clock because they know Nikki ASH is going to be in that first hour, cool. I just saw Nikki. She's awesome. I'm going to go, everything. And then all of a sudden over time, she starts getting bigger and bigger pops.
And for all the dudes that are saying, I don't care about kids, BS. You were a kid that watched wrestling. That's how you got into this.
Yeah. And some of you guys now have kids. And guess what? I'm sure your kids are fans of Nikki ASH, and you're not letting them stay up until 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Maybe you are on the West Coast because, again, that's a 3-hour time difference. Okay, so that's cool. But you got a lot of audience on the East Coast who didn't see Nikki ASH this week.
So you tell me Nikki very over in San Diego. San Diego way
Possibly.
Over. Her, Ron Burgundy.
With the younger audience, yes, put your more risque adult type stuff. Your Lana Lashley segments, put that on in the 3rd hour when adults are still. Well, make that your Adult Swim hour. And put your more risque stuff there. But in that 8 o'clock,
it's Raw after dark. They probably did that. They probably did that back in the 90s.
That's how I would structure. That's another thing. Structure it differently. You could have PG hour 1, PG-13 hour 2, and then I'm not saying R, but you could do your more risque stuff in the 3rd hour when kids are presumably in bed. Another thing you could do, which is insane to me. As of this recording, there's still no Nikki ASH merchandise up on WWEshop.com. Nothing.
I don't know how that's a reboot for Raw, but I think we've presented some solid ideas here.
I think again, it's all about helping your star. It's unfathomable to me that they don't want kids with Nikki Ash masks everywhere at SummerSlam. They should have been selling those the week after she debuted that character.
Are you gonna get one, Rick?
Get a shirt with a butterfly on it. I mean,
Rick, are you gonna get one? Are you gonna get one?
I have a myriad of ideas for merchandise for Nikki ASH that yes, I would buy some of them. I would seriously, man. I got ideas for days. Give her an actual Nikki mobile to drive down, and then you know what? You could sell the toy version for $49.99, just like they did. Have you ever watched the show Bluey? Probably not, because you don't have kids, but I do.
I am a child.
Yeah, I watched the show Bluey. They have a 4-door Jeep Wrangler type thing that I have 2 of in my house because my daughter needed to have one. And you know what? That costs $49.99. You could have a Nikki mobile that she drives down to the ring every night, and guess what? You could sell replicas for $49.99 online, and the Nikki
her and Shotzi Blackheart can have a race.
Shotzi's on SmackDown. That's fine. Nikki's on Raw. No big deal. Nikki can have projectiles come off of hers if she wants.
Everybody gets a gimmick.
Give her a Nikki signal, man. Give her a Nikki signal, like kind of make her entrance kind of like Sanity used to be, but instead it's spotlights with a butterfly on it, so like her own bat signal.
Yeah.
And then you could sell flashlights with the Nikki spotlight on it. I got a million ideas that can make WWE money. It's insane to me that they're not helping Nikki by putting some of this merchandise out there. You want to see if she's successful? Put merchandise, especially for a character like a superhero, which there is millions of options for merchandise. Put that up on WWEshop.com. What the hell are you doing? Help your stars get over. Help your stars get over.
Next week is SummerSlam. Next week is Rampage. You will be in Las Vegas, and we
will
will have a lot of special content. We already have WWE Champion Bobby Lashley going to be on the channel this week.
Tomorrow.
But you will be boots on the ground in Vegas with our very own Jose G. You guys will be covering everything going on with the first big stadium event for WWE in quite some time.
I'm looking forward to getting into the Raiders Stadium. That place looks really, really nice.
Tickets moving very, very well for the show. Over 41,000 sold. Secondary market is about 5,000 tickets out there. So that's a low level for a resold event. And then there's also talk of WWE adding more here. So also all the talent's going to be there. A lot of big names going to be at SummerSlam. John Cena going to be there. Roman Reigns going to be there. All right. Goldberg going to be there. And Sportskeeda will be there.
Yes.
We will have special content on our social feeds, on our video channels all weekend with people on the ground. And also we'll be doing a live post show after SummerSlam with you guys. Hopefully it's gonna, internet connection bound.
It's probably gonna be something similar to what we had at WrestleMania, to where we just had to back slowly out of the arena as security.
But that was awesome.
Out.
That with JTG and Jose G we literally did our WrestleMania post show walking out of WrestleMania with security guards telling us to move, with the whole giant pirate ship in the background.
With me steering the camera guy around the corners. Yeah, it was good. Good time.
I love that you had to steer the camera. You had to like hold our camera guy. Shout out to Rico for doing that. Thank you so much, Rico. Shout out to JTG, Jay Dagald, for joining us on that as well. I'm of the thought, I think this will be a show that exceeds expectations.
I think the show itself is going to be off the charts. I really do. I after talking to Lashley today, again, I have high hopes for this Lashley Goldberg match. I think it's going to be a sprint like most Goldberg matches are. But I think those two are going to work well enough together where that match is going to be great. I'm a little surprised that we don't have more matches on the card yet. We got like
all outs like that. There's only like 2 or 3 matches announced.
Yeah, but we still got 3 weeks away from All Out.
Sure. Yeah.
We got 2 SmackDowns and 1 Raw. And right now I think we got the women's title match, the main title matches, the U.S. title match, and a tag team title match. We got like 6 matches on the card, and Edge and Rollins. So we got 7. So it'll be interesting to see how they fill out the card and how many we're going to get. Maybe we only get a 10 match card, which I wouldn't be mad at.
There'll be some cool stuff in the kickoff. People sleep on the kickoff. Don't do that. Subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube. We are making the march to 20,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the great growth we've had there. And of course, if you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe to the Sportskeeda app, which is available on Apple and Google Play, on iTunes. Get all your news, one click. You don't have to go Googling around. We have it all there for you as well. Rick, I know you're busy. What do you got going on, buddy?
Again, my conversation with Bobby Lashley, once it's edited together from the 3 times the internet connection dropped out, it's going to be on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel tomorrow. So check out Friday morning, typically around 9-10 a.m. That bad boy drops. So check on that. And then again, next week, I'm going to be in Viva Las Vegas. I will be at the big open tryout on Thursday for that. And then the press junket will be on Friday. Of course, the show is on Saturday. Follow me on Twitter. At Rick Ucchino, RICKUCCHINO. I will have so much stuff coming out on my Twitter page, and again, check the Sportskeeda socials for everything that we got going on. Myself and Jose. It's gonna be a good time. We'll see if I can work out an internet and time schedule to where I can be on this show next week.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We're gonna be on different time
figure it
zones. That's gonna be interesting to try to figure that out. But
yeah, and you may be broke. You may be broke at a Keno table by then. So
yeah, I could be buried out in the desert for all we know. I could get peshied like in Casino. I could just get hit with a baseball bat and dropped out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, Dr. Ken Jeong is just burying you like from Hangover. You get hit with a shovel.
You won't hear from me by Friday night. Send help.
Great. I have to have Jose check on you. It's going to be ridiculous. So we're going to have that coming up next week. Thank you guys so much for just supporting the brand. I know there's a lot of choices in wrestling media, and the fact that you spend, an hour and 20 minutes with this is not something I take for granted, not something Rick takes for granted as well. So we're very, very thankful. Thanks for the time. Remember, when watching wrestling, you can bitch and you can moan and you can be IWC 69 Scott and you can do all those different things. But remember, one important thing you got to do. You're watching this wrestling. Gotta breathe. You gotta be that little kid, maybe that kid who's cheering for Nikki ASH, right? Just enjoy wrestling.
If you can.